I'm no expert, but perfectly landed uppercut is a beautiful thing. It's probably one of my favorite punches to see landed in fighting, period. I know this is a day late, but definitely not a dollar short. By the time I got home last night and watched the replay of Derek Black Beast Lewis versus Curtis Razor Blaydes, which is a super sick nickname, by the way, it was late and I just was tired and I didn't have time to do the video. But anyways, here we are. Here's the thing. It was almost like Michael Bisping's commentary early in the first round was almost prophetic as to how the fight ended, which speaks to his obvious knowledge of the fight game, having been a fighter, a champion, and of course now he's really good at commentary. But he said that you have to have, against a guy like Derek Lewis with that kind of dangerous punching power, you have to have a perfect entry. And we know Curtis Blaydes has the most takedowns in UFC heavyweight history, I think at 59, which is double the number two guy in all-time takedowns in the heavyweight division in the UFC, which was Cain Velasquez. So that's saying a lot. He's got double the amount of takedowns as Cain Velasquez, with the most in UFC history. So we know that's his bread and butter. I think in one of his most recent fights, he had like 14 takedowns in just that fight alone. This is a fight that if you check one of my earlier videos, this is a matchup that I actually said I wanted to see. So I'm glad to know that once in a while I do have some good mythical matchmaking skills. But anyways, the first round, Derek Lewis did win an early exchange that kind of had Curtis Blaydes on the run. But for the rest of the round, Curtis Blaydes was kind of doing better. He was kind of winning the stand-up game, actually. His combinations and, more importantly, that leg kick, that outside leg kick to Derek Lewis's front leg, his left leg, was really effective. And he had Derek Lewis off balance. And he was able to, towards the end of a round, attack with some pretty solid combinations attempts and landed a right hand. He had one sequence where he hit him with the right hand, followed up with a combo, and then like ended with the leg kick, which really had Lewis off balance. And then, of course, he poked him in the eye with about 10 seconds left, stopped the fight for a few seconds, and they finished the round. The second round was kind of more of the same in the beginning. He was sort of winning the exchanges, it looked like. I mean, he came with a salvo. He came with a right hand. He threw a knee. He threw an elbow. I mean, he was on the attack. Then he went for a takedown attempt, a single leg, which Derek Lewis defended well. They ended up against the cage. They were wrestled up against the cage for a few seconds, nothing too long, and then they kind of backed off. Herb Dean was telling Derek Lewis to keep his hand like this and not like this. It was kind of weird. It was like this weird little thing where they were slapping each other. And after that, I don't know why, Blaydes was unsuccessful with his first takedown attempt, and they kind of were just like back to filling each other out. There wasn't too much action going at that particular moment, but he decided to shoot again with kind of like no real setup, and that's where the fireworks happened. As Bisping predicted, and as we know, Derek Lewis's strategy was to defend the takedown attempt with the uppercut and not the knee. I mean, thus keeping his feet stable on the ground and having a base and able to get into a wrestling underhook grappling mode if he should miss the uppercut attempt. Well, he landed it perfectly, right on the chin, and Blaydes was out upon impact, and he still caught a short hook on the way down and two massive right hands when he was already asleep on the canvas. So he got knocked out while he was knocked out. I mean, that was nasty. And it's kind of funny because even though he's the wrestler who has the most takedowns in UFC heavyweight history, and Derek Lewis has had trouble with wrestlers, he's obviously been working on that as a point of emphasis. But his shots are just massive. He's got that power where, obviously we see what he can do. I mean, they were both on winning streaks. I think 4-fight winning streaks. Blaydes was heavily favored. You have the number 2 contender against the number 4 contender, and now Black Beast is back in line. I mean, they know he's got to wait for the winner of Stipe versus Ngannou, and we know he had the most boring fight ever with Ngannou. They should probably run that back at some point and give the fans what they were supposed to see the first time around. But Ngannou's got to get past Stipe. He also called out Stipe as someone he'd like to fight, but he's got to wait for Ngannou and Stipe to get it on, and then he's got to wait for John Jones to fight the winner of that. So who does he fight in the meantime? And does he want to wait to let the dust settle and see who's still standing at the end of that and who he can fight? Because Stipe versus Ngannou Part 2. Jones gets the winner. I mean, does he fight the loser of that fight? Well, Jones gets the winner. And then if he wins, he gets the winner of the Jones versus the winner of Stipe versus Ngannou. Does that make sense? Like, what does he do? How long does he wait? But man, that was a thing of beauty. Perfectly timed uppercut, just detonated and destroyed upon impact. And he just landed lateral right hook inside and 2 more bombs. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. Black Beast strikes again. So shout out to Curtis Blaydes for taking that fight. I'm sure he felt confident in his ability to win. And he was doing well on his feet. I mean, that leg kick was doing damage. Maybe he should have stuck with that for another round or 2 before he really started trying to shoot. But it is what it is. He got knocked out. And we got to see where he goes from here after a devastating loss and what Lewis does in the meantime while he waits for the winner of Stipe versus Ngannou versus Jones. Anyways, I'm no expert. I just call it how I see it. You want to know.